Hi, and welcome to FrazlCast. Climb aboard the Gnome Train.
Chugga, 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 woo!
Please make sure to keep your limbs and experimental instruments inside the train at all times. And now, on with the show.
A podcast by a Blizzard fan gnome about World of Warcraft and geeky stuff. I promise you, they do talk about the World of Warcraft. They just go off the rails sometimes.
So I'm Frazley, and I am joined by Amanda of Geek Herring.
Hello.
And Thom of 3 Extra Lives.
Hello.
So on this episode, now that the Thanksgiving feast have subsided, at least for me, when you both are here in the United States, do you partake in the meals?
Well, I mean, we do eat.
Okay, that's good.
No, we're here for 2 months and we don't eat a single thing.
Hey, saved a lot of money, because, I mean, I spent a lot of food money in BlizzCon, so if I could have not eaten, that would have really made...
We ration ourselves to half a Twinkie a day.
Ooh,
We
smart.
split it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right down the middle.
Now, do you like the chocolate Twinkies or the vanilla Twinkies?
These weren't chocolate or vanilla. I don't know what Twinkies they were.
Who is this guy?
I know you're Amanda, and I don't know if I think that's Thom, unless he's an alien. I mean, we are.
I mean, he might be.
Maybe we'll find out. So tonight is going to be a special dessert of Twinkies and fun. So we'll be doing a creative check-in with the both of you on your creative projects, talk about what we are thankful for, and more. Before we get started, time for the appetizer. Epicinsanity. What time is it?
It's time to go around the table.
Great idea. So what have you been up to recently? No, Tom, put away your tissues. We aren't going to be asking how many tissues you've been through tonight.
The answer is a lot. Just
A lot.
A lot of
it's
tissues.
a lot.
A lot of tissues, and I don't think we should give any context at all. We should just move swiftly on.
I have no transition.
Fair.
So Amanda, what have you been up to?
I moved countries for a couple months. Came from Northern Ireland to Florida last week. Been hanging out in the closet recording Geek Herring. We've recorded 2 episodes this week. I watched Aladdin finally.
Nice. What did you think of the new one?
Oh my god, it was amazing. It was like the best movie ever.
I wondered how they were going to do it, and it was so cool, like to see it in real life, and the music was great. Oh yeah,
It was amazing. You'll need to check out next week's episode of Geek Herring. No, 2 weeks. I don't know. There's going to be an episode of Geek Herring, and I kind of just took it over by talking about Aladdin. So
nice.
yeah,
Nice.
that's why we had to record 2 episodes this week.
It'll be magic.
Magic. Yeah, other than that, not too much. Just been hanging out and adjusting to Florida life.
Does it rain every afternoon like it does when I've been out there?
No, we haven't had rain yet. I don't think in a week.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, we've had great weather. It's sunny and hot and everything you want out of November in Florida.
So I guess you can't bless the rains down in Florida.
We cannot, and I'm kind of okay with that.
Yeah,
We get enough rain in Ireland.
that's true. I have not been there, but I've heard that.
Yeah. I mean, you live basically in Ireland yourself.
Exactly. Yes. Today I just went down to old historic Dublin. I mean, I went to the Starbucks. You know that one, right? In historic
yeah.
Dublin.
The wee old Starbucks.
Yes. Oh, it's so good.
I love
that.
a good old potato latte down there.
Oh yes.
Potato latte, that sounds disgusting.
I tried one time blending up. Well, it wasn't potato. It was cottage cheese and fruit into a blender with sriracha.
Why?
Why?
I don't know. I was trying to be healthy, but it tasted awful.
What do you say to that?
There's nothing.
I have I have nothing to say to that except, hey Thom, what have you been up to?
I was just doing whatever Amanda said when she was talking. I actually wasn't listening. Was it,
So you've been
was it about the
recording
library?
episodes of Geek Herring, Thom?
Oh yes, I was on Geek Herring.
You're
No, I wasn't on
Geek
Geek Herring.
Yeah.
I wasn't on Geek
What
Herring.
did you think of Aladdin?
But I was in the closet, which is what I think we're calling our podcast studio here, even though we're not in the podcast studio right now.
Or not.
Yeah, just adjusting to the American life, and I think I'm allergic to Florida, so great. I've been. I didn't want to give any context to the tissues. Sorry. Made the transition, trying to stay out of the big thing in the sky. I'm not sure what that is. It shines down on me and makes me warm and sweat and burns me. I'm just trying to stay away from that thing.
It's called the sun.
The sun.
Yeah.
Right, okay. The sun. It seems very dangerous. Very dangerous. We don't have that where I'm from, and well, we do, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't exist. But it's it's usually covered behind some clouds. But here it's all out in the open. Very scary. I don't know how I'm going to survive 2 months here.
Yeah, and wear sunscreen. I remember when I was 11, I burned my back so bad in the swimming pool, and I literally was like 5 days lying face down because it was aloe applied every hour to my back. Oh, it was.
Give me that aloe.
I have been there.
It's not fun.
Mm-mm.
Worship the sun responsibly, kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
When I was in Sri Lanka a few years ago, I got burnt along the top of my shoulder so bad. I was like little blisters and I feel you, is what I'm saying.
And then all you had to do was rub some of that sriracha and cottage cheese mix that Frazley was making up.
Oh,
you rub that on.
No,
that
please.
That heals any type of sunburn.
No.
Well, I mean, people are pointing out weird wellness facts. People that are bleaching their holes and stuff like that. You never know. Sriracha
Oh my
and
God.
stuff could be a new thing.
I wasn't ready for that.
Wow. NSFW chat.
Whoa.
I have to add memes. Got to be up on all the memes that are going out there.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what meme that is, but great, yeah.
There's literally a meme of people doing that, and they're like, people are putting around now. It's like, yeah, no. There's a reason why the phrase "where the sun don't shine" is the phrase like that.
Okay. I feel slightly enlightened and slightly disturbed.
Both.
All at the same time.
Yep.
I did not mean to. I mean, sun's good to be careful of because, I've launched my new line of the hashtag #BeAwesomeWalks, and I make sure to wear sunscreen when I remember.
I make sure to wear it all the time when I remember.
Yes.
I like it.
I also saw a movie that really touched me to a core. I love Mr. Rogers, and I've always loved catching it on PBS. So then I saw A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, and wow, whoever made the movie knew the show at a deep level because it was the show went between the show and a biopic of Mr. Rogers. It was so well done, and it is definitely a good companion with the documentary "Won't You Be My Neighbor" because you learn things in that one that you're watching it in this one. And actually, now I want to watch the other one again to see things. But Mr. Rogers is just a character and a person that I want to be like. Because at one point, Lloyd Vogel asked him, "Hey, who are you when you aren't the character Mr. Rogers?" Said, "Mr. Rogers is me." I was like, that's authenticity to a core.
We're not talking about Captain America here, are we?
No.
Oh, is it different Mr. Rogers?
Oh, Captain America's name is Mr. Rogers. I'm bad at my superhero stuff.
Steve Rogers?
Steve Rogers.
Sorry,
Oh,
no,
Steve-
I'm not from around here, so I don't know who Mr. Rogers is. I just think of,
Mr. Rogers' neighborhood.
Right.
Mr.
It's
Rogers-
a beautiful day in
Day
the
in the neighborhood.
neighborhood.
A beautiful day
Day
in the
in the
neighborhood.
I don't actually know the words. Just know the beginning, and I was like, I don't know why I started this. I can't continue.
That's me all the time. So it's interesting you mentioned Marvel though, because Disney owns Marvel, and I saw Frozen 2 today.
Ooh, I like that segue. That was a good Geek Herring segue.
Oh, thank you.
Very professional. Have you been doing this for a while? Because, I mean, that's just... doesn't get any better than that.
135 episodes, plus I've pre-recorded 3 episodes that are coming out after this episode. So
Spoilers! Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. So how was Frozen?
Oh, it was phenomenal. I went into it because Razorus told me it was great, and I was like, okay, it's gonna be good. I won't be cold. I'm not gonna do any spoilers on it because it's when you got to go in there. Don't listen to the soundtrack beforehand.
Okay.
I heard one of the songs beforehand. I was like, no, I should have not listened to any of the soundtrack. I should have just gone in. But wow. Oh, Disney, I think they actually upped Frozen in so many ways because there was a story that it was so well done. So I'm excited to see what people think of it as we go forward.
Oh, good.
And then Spaz got me into playing Rainbow Six Siege. I almost got vote kicked because I had no idea. I was confused at times. I had a good time. My favorite thing, though, I won a round But I was lying prone on my back. I was pretending to be a corpse. Well, actually, I wasn't pretending to be. I just like, okay, I'm
Pretending to have
somebody.
really bad sunburn. Just
Yes. So the person walked into the area, looked at me, thought I was a corpse, and then moved on. At that moment, bam! And I took him out, and we won the match. So
damn.
I felt so good at that.
That's like some World of Warcraft feign death tactics there, Fraz.
Yes. And I still need to do fame death on my hunter. I'm better at Rainbow Six Siege as a hunter than I am in hunter in WoW. Oh.
You've never feigned death?
No, never in WoW.
That's like my get out of trouble free without dying.
Plus, you can always like cash in your insurance if you have Goblin insurance. Just feign death, cash it all in, make a couple $100 gold. Do that every day. You'd be
great.
You know, you have WoW tokens coming out your
That's how
your
I got the
wazoo.
Brontosaurus mount.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you brought up insurance. So I was playing the Outer Worlds. One of the characters had an issue with their parents over insurance. Made me so mad that I ended up murdering the parents.
Wow.
And things did not go the way I wanted, so I went back
confession?
to
Did we get it?
I think we got that.
We got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got that.
Send them in. All right. Wrong April. Send them in.
So then after that, I was like, I felt so bad for how things turned out that I went to a quick save right before the murder when it was an alternate dimension murder. And like chat, when they were watching, were like, wow, Fraz. Because at one point, Telewarn was like, the person wanted me to act on my best behavior. They wanted me to be like mean for the parents, so that way the parents would get their comeuppance. And the person was like, well, I thought you would be the person to not jiggle the toilet when you're flushing it. And I said, but now I think you're the person that can murder parents in an alternate dimension. I was like, yep, that's me.
That's the dark side of the Fraz, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you never want to see what's on there. And I think we've, you know, caught a glimpse right there of what you're capable of.
I mean, you should hear what he says when he's not beeping himself out.
Oh,
You know, that's all you need to
I mean,
know.
we were, you know, talking before the show, and I mean, I couldn't even repeat that.
It was filth.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. And
There are
Yeah.
young listeners, Fraz.
I'm sorry. I better be careful of the new COPA rules happening. But, you know, finally in WoW, for the first time, I got the Pilgrim achievement in Pilgrim Bounty. So I had to get the one where I sat down at the Horde tables and then do the Terracar boss. And after that, I am now a Pilgrim in WoW, and I've got a plump turkey. So
Nice.
I got to figure out what to call the pet. I mean, I may call it like Mr. Gobble or something like that, but I'm working on the What a Long Strange Trip It's Been for the Violet Protodrake.
Oh, you still don't have that?
No, I don't have it. I always intend to.
Whoa.
But now that we've had appetizers, let's dig into the main course of the episode.
Ooh.
Geek Herring just released episode 58. And for those who are not aware, what is Geek Herring?
Geek Herring is a podcast where I'm a co-host. My co-host is Monica Rabensteiner. And it's a podcast where we talk about geek feminism or issues that affect women and people who identify as women in geek culture. I
really enjoy the show because it helps me see things that I may not see my perspective. And it's helped me broaden my view at things. And now like I'm actually getting outraged at the same things that you get outraged at. And it's cool.
Thank you. That's really cool to hear.
I've definitely, one thing about Mr. Rogers that I enjoyed was his wanting to understand perspectives. And I've been under a change in myself in the past couple of years to go under a perspective. So I appreciate hearing from things that I won't experience, but I can know how can I better understand things. I'm excited that you're now past episode 50. I mean, it feels like you just started the episode, the show. I mean, that's the crazy thing. It's amazing how fast that time flies.
It's gone so fast, honestly. Like we've recorded 60 episodes now. We've got 61 episodes now. We've a couple ready to go. And honestly, like it's just crazy that it's a full year. It's over a year now. Like honestly, the craziest thing is that Monica and I have stuck to it actually and carried on with it. But I get like it just shows how much we actually really do love what we're talking about. And
that's definitely the key to a good podcast is knowing something that you're passionate about. Like this show, if I wasn't passionate about people, I would not be here still. So what has it been like now that you've been doing it for a full year?
It's been great. Honestly, like, there are some weeks that we're a bit unsure of what to talk about. And when that happened, like when we were just like, oh, I actually have no idea what to talk about, that's how the Geek Herring and Chill episodes came about. Because we were like, oh, what do we talk about? Oh, let's just shoot the breeze or shoot the beep.
We don't have a swear button.
We don't
here.
have that swear button over here. Yeah, like it's cool the way that it evolves over time. And we're actually just gearing up for a hiatus for a very first one to have an actual break from releasing. We've only missed one episode in the year and a bit that we've been recording. I'm pretty excited for what we're going to do because it's a break from recording, there's going to be some cool things coming behind the scenes and maybe a few changes.
Ooh.
But
Are you getting rid of Monica?
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah. Dead weight. I'm joking. I love you.
Yeah, and that's definitely the awesome back and forth I've seen between Monica and you. It's been fun on the DPS game times, hearing that back and forth in real time.
Yeah, we actually just really hate each other, and so we're all that animosity it's all real.
Okay, that's Hey, there are a lot of shows and podcasts where the people hated each other. I think did I hear that Adam Savage and Jamie Heineman of Mythbusters really hated each other? And
yeah. Penn and Teller, they hate each other as well. I don't know if they have a podcast, but
isn't one of them dead?
No, I don't think.
I mean, I don't think they hated each other that much.
No,
sorry, I thought one of the magicians died. I don't know.
I think you might be thinking of Siegfried and Roy.
Blaine. Oh yeah. I was close.
Or David Blaine? I don't know.
Breaking news. I don't know. No, probably not. He's good.
And see, that's an obstacle of podcasting because we don't always know.
We don't know anything, basically. We just put ourselves in front of a microphone and pretend we do.
That's
people believe us.
Yeah.
And we have our words go on forever. It's in recorded history.
Yes.
Yeah.
When the aliens land, they will seize all the podcasts and then they're like, oh, these are the beings we need to clone and replicate.
Yeah.
Yes.
God, more Monicas? No thanks.
Whoa, yeah, no.
Yeah.
More Frazleys? Whoa!
No. Only one of me. Yeah, I don't want more than me because, I mean, that would be an obstacle. And in fact, I think that would actually end the
it
whole
would
world.
be good for you because then all your podcasts, just one host for each, just one Frazley can take care of it.
Ooh.
You could just go on your cruises and...
You know what? I don't think that's true. I think if there was more Frazleys, there would be more Frazley podcasts.
Could you imagine? You go onto Apple Podcasts and you're just like, oh yeah, which podcast? Oh, that's by Frazley. It's just all Frazley. It's just like
that's now.
Yeah. Oh, that's now. Yeah,
that's right now.
That's now. Yeah, I mean, every time I go on there, I'm literally like, oh, this is another Frazley show. I thought this was about American football, but no, it turns out it was a Frazley show. And
so
Frazley talks sports. Kept that one quiet.
And Alexander Frazley's podcasts are a bit short. Yeah, I do.
That's how he can make so many. He makes them all short.
Yes, exactly. Because, I mean, length of a podcast is definitely an obstacle for making the shows. So what has been one of the biggest obstacles you've had to overcome with Geek Herring?
Ooh. I think it would be talking about some of the more difficult to have conversations. There's definitely been a few topics that we've had to bring up and approach, and it's not always easy to do it sensitively. Sometimes we've got differing opinions, but on most of the important stuff, we're very of the same opinion, which is good, but doesn't make for always a good debate. But that isn't anything to do with
I think you can have different approaches to perspectives though, which are still of a place where you would want to meet in the middle.
Oh yeah.
Which is as a listener of Geek Herring, I would that would be my little, what is it you call it here? 2 cents?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
10 cents. 5 cents. How much is it?
2 cents.
2 cents. Okay, to get it right.
Well, it would probably be 2 copper for World of Warcraft.
2 copper.
Yeah.
2 copper coins.
Yeah. But just doing justice to the hard topics. And if it's something that, if it's a topic, for example, that we're not super knowledgeable about, like everything that happened a few weeks ago with Hearthstone and Blizzard, and we brought in some awesome experts that were able to help us. Thanks, Frazley and Thom, to bring some genuine conversation and insight into it as well.
That was a fun episode on the Hong Kong. I think that was episode 51 or 52.
Oh, was it that long ago already? Wow. Probably was, yeah.
Thom and I were on Geek Herring, and
It was before BlizzCon, so yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Wow.
Yeah.
I definitely know what you mean, because like even on like this show, I want to try to bring a good perspective. But yeah, sometimes I remember, I think one of my hardest ones here was we were talking about exploits, and I actually brought on somebody who had used a leveling potion exploit, and brought somebody on who was against exploits. I'm against exploits too, but I brought on two different people. And it was cool because we got different perspectives, and the person actually felt bad about what they did. But it was interesting. It was one of those, I was afraid of putting it out there. I was like, oh no, you're going to be so upset at me. But people said it actually was a good episode from what I've heard on that.
Oh, good.
What is an aspect that you feel that the show has morphed since you've started?
I think when we started introducing our review episodes was something, like it was something that we never really thought about doing when we first started Geek Herring. And again, it was what should we talk about this week? And we were like, oh, let's watch something and talk about it. And it's turned into something, an aspect of the show that I really like a lot. Like the review episodes are some of my favorites because we get to watch or read or listen to something that gives you a lot of feels and a lot of thoughts. And just getting to talk different perspectives with Monica it's a lot of fun. And it's just something that I never thought that I would be doing. And then because of that, it's also brought in that I can now write about like game and book reviews, which is something I had never considered before. And I've had people approach me more than once to write and review their product. And I'm like, this is cool. So it's definitely brought a lot of review to me, which I like a lot.
What's cool about that is I've seen like a lot of sites who started with like just as a blog, then they added different things, they added videos. And to me, I kind of see this is the start of the Geek Herring brand going forward, and kind of seeing it, how it's building and building. I mean, I could see one day there's like a Geek Herring conference, and I say take it to its limit. I mean, just do everything you can, because there's a lot of cool things. One of the podcasts I like watching is She Podcast, and they just had a She Podcast live conference that started with a podcast. Then they started a Facebook group, and now they have I believe they're going to do it again, a yearly conference. So I mean, you never know. Would that be
Herring Con or would that be Geek Con?
It would have to be Herring Con because I think there already is a Geek Con.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting that you brought that up, Frazley, because it's been talked about. So.
Ooh. So that's a hint, kind of, to what we have in store for the next year, or just in the future.
Well, in the future, Monica and I have talked about it on a couple episodes of Geek Herring, and we've talked about it seriously. And I think it would be definitely in maybe the 5-year plan.
Okay. Ooh.
I thought you were just going to drop a bombshell and be like, tickets are on sale now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that would be cool. No.
I'm like a breaking scoop. Oh, well, that'd be cool.
Me, I wish. That'd be really cool. No, in store for the next year, though, we're going to be going live on Twitch ourselves.
Nice!
So stay tuned for that, I guess. Doing some roundtable discussions, bringing in some experts to talk about maybe more in-depth or bigger topics that 2 or 3 people can't do. So that's the exciting thing. I know we've teased about it and we've talked about it a lot, but like I swear it's actually happening. That's part of why we're taking the hiatus, so that we can actually properly plan it out and invite some guests on.
Well, you've said it on FrazlCast now. I mean, that's a legally binding.
It is.
Podcast contract. I mean,
it is. Yeah. Let me just sign the screen.
Okay. Yep. Accepted. So it's been saved for posterity.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
Now at the conference, would I be allowed to come, even though even though I'm not a female? Would I be able to come to the conference?
Of course.
Okay, I'm flying to Ireland.
You don't need to be female to be a feminist.
Okay, awesome. Yes.
So can gnomes be feminist?
Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
Taking all the boxes.
Oh yeah.
I would definitely love to come out to Ireland to meet both of you. Even though last year we met in person, but it'd be cool to. I've always wanted to come to Ireland, so that would
So Frazley's saying that it has to be in Ireland.
I'm like, oh, okay. I wasn't planning on having it in Ireland.
But
come anyways, you know.
Or we could do it in the in Ohio, and then it would be, if you're doing it in Cleveland.
I mean, it's going to be in Europe.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Maybe the second one can be in Ohio.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good because I definitely know a lot of feminists around here, so I think it would.
Or are you just going to have your own GnomeCon and have it in Ohio?
No, I think GnomeCon's taken because Gnome is for Linux.
FrazCon?
FrazCon. I can do FrazCon. Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, you've got enough podcasts. I think that you could definitely just make it FrazCon.
Ooh,
I want to go to those Q&As where it's like for each show.
That's where your clones come in.
Yes.
Just like a panel of Frazley moderating for Frazleys to talk about Frazley.
People would call to ask questions and they'd be like, this question's for Frazley. And then they're just all like, which one?
No, that's me.
Oh, that's me. Oh, yeah. They're all arguing amongst themselves.
Yeah, that's me. Because I was envisioning me at the moderator place, then me running over to point A, me running over to point B.
Yeah, I mean, that might be the first one until we get the clones, fully trained up.
I would go to both of those conferences.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. And Alessandra says that they know an amazing place in Germany. So
nice.
Okay. Sold.
Maybe. Where? Gotta get this information.
Yeah.
Well,
what street it on?
Give me their postal code. No.
Yes.
I know a good place actually in California, and if you try and book it in November, you might get it.
Yeah,
might get it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think you could book out the entire Anaheim Convention Center at that exact time. Yeah.
No, nothing ever goes on there. Nothing ever goes on in November.
No.
So they're practically giving away the space because there's nothing going on there.
All right, I'll book it for next year.
Yes,
right now.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. I mean, that's if FrazCon hasn't already got in there. But
FrazCon's going to be in Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in Ohio, yeah. I'm not going to go too far from my home. For
in the Wendy's headquarters or something.
Yes.
just in a broom closet in Wendy's headquarters.
You've got a good memory. Wow. You remember the... Wow, Thom.
Oh, I know everything about Ohio. You ask me anything about Ohio, I'll give you an answer. It might not be the right answer, but I'll give you an answer.
What is one of the famous things that happens at our Ohio State Fair?
Well, that involves a lot of butter, a goldfish, and a Rubik's Cube. And that's all I'm saying.
You were close on the first one. We have this
that's
giant...
all I'm saying.
It's the butter cow. And every year, butter cows and different things. So,
well, funny, actually, where I'm from, that's what we call Rubik's Cubes. So
butter cows?
Yeah. It's so funny how that works out.
So instead of speed cubing, it's speed cowing.
Oh, no, that's something totally different.
Okay.
No. No, you're going to have to edit that out.
This episode is... and Alessandra said...
You should have bleeped that.
So instead of speed cubing... nah.
Speed cubing? Oh, no, that's something totally different as well. Oh, my goodness.
That sounds like something that happens when you're playing Hearthstone with like
cubing?
A cube block. And,
that's very...
Yeah, and then you're...
That's wild. That's wild.
I'm not good at Hearthstone. And Alessandra said that the place is right outside of Berlin, Google Tropical Island.
Okay.
And they just had a StarCraft tournament there.
I will check that out. Thank you so much.
So, speaking of StarCraft's a video game. And in StarCraft,
you're such a pro.
You can die, and sometimes it'd be nice to have if you had 3 extra lives.
Wow. Frazley, sorry, I just need to say that, like, that was a very Monica Leeway. Like,
yes!
Yeah, leeway. What did
leeway.
Leeway.
A leeway.
That was like very Monica Leeway. Yeah.
I must be related to Monica in some way because I mean it's genetics.
I don't know who I feel more sorry for.
Well, you are like part German Austrian, right? Didn't you do the DNA test?
Let me.
I love how you have it so close to you at all times.
All the time. You're like, yes, I am 62% German Austrian.
He's also Swedish. No, you're not Swedish. You're not Swedish. I think we discovered that.
Yeah, not Swedish.
Not Swedish.
I am.
Just kidding.
Log in.
You could literally tell us like any statistic.
But then it wouldn't be true, and everything
Yeah.
that's on FrazlCast has to
that's
be true.
No, because we have to be factual on everything.
Everything in the media in America is true as well. I heard.
As we know.
It said that on the news actually
Yeah.
when I was here.
So I am 56.2% British and Irish, 21.7% French and German.
There we go.
Yeah.
And then after that, it goes down into different smaller things. Like I'm 15.9% broadly Northwestern European.
There
So,
you go.
I've got broad shoulders, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I did actually. That's the first thing I noticed about you.
You're like,
Yeah, that was pretty much not the first thing I noticed. I was like,
yes, I'm the tallest gnome in Azeroth.
Oh my god. Hello.
how did you fit in this Kroger?
Yes. I was looking down from above at the Kroger because I was the tallest person at the Kroger. And we met back in May of 18 at a Kroger.
We did.
And then in March of this year, I listened to your first episode of 3 Extra Lives podcast. So they were not related at all to us meeting, but I was just trying to relate them.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to put it out near St. Patrick's Day. You're from Dublin, Ohio. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure.
Am I getting good at this segue thing?
No.
Oh, absolutely.
No?
If Monica's good at them, you guys are good at them.
Cool.
So what would St. Patrick say that 3 Extra Lives is about?
St. Patrick,
He'd
mean-
be like, what the fuck is this? I'm sorry. What the beep is this about?
what is a podcast? What is a podcast? That's
Does
what
it
he'd say.
have snakes in it?
No, there's no snakes in Ireland. I think that's what he'd say for us, if I'm honest. We broke the Fratster.
So
I'm really sorry. You've invited me on here, and you don't have profanity filter over here.
oh, you're good. This show gave up its clean filter years ago, but we found out that by being on the explicit filter, we're no longer banned in India. So that's a good thing. I'm going to slither like a snake over and say, what would you say 3 Extra Lives is about?
3 Extra Lives is a video game and trivia podcast. And when I was coming up with the idea for a podcast, I wanted it to be digestible. I wanted it something that somebody could listen to on a small commute. And I had the idea of coming up with a couple of segments. And in its early stage, I was thinking of 5 points. My kind of initial idea for the podcast was the 5-point podcast, where I would talk about 5 things every week. Well, I'm glad I didn't do that because that would be a lot of work. But anyway, I came up with this idea for 3 segments, and then I was like, oh yeah, like 3, and I was like, extra lives, 3 extra lives. Then I added the trivia in because I like trivia. So I have 3 segments with a trivia question at the end of each show. And yeah, it's kind of how it started. It was kind of one of those ideas that kind of was bored in the shower, just kind of like thinking of ideas. And I really wanted to focus on indie games. I wanted to focus on stories that weren't, at the top of the headlines, talking about your AAA title games, because there's a lot of people out there creating that content. And I thought, I don't want to add to that noise. I want to try and focus on stories that maybe aren't getting the attention they deserved. And probably my other pillar for 3 Extra Lives is focusing on video game positivity, which again, talking about positive stories, talking about positive people, positive aspects of the video game industry, because I think a lot of the times there's this real toxic element to video games, to online gaming, to even certain communities. I mean, I know we're primarily involved in a lot of the Warcraft community, and there's a really special side to that. There's also this other side where people could be elitist or toxic or, talk people down. And I'm like, no, I don't want any of that. I want to like focus on the good side of video gaming, because I know I could focus on the bad side of video gaming, but I choose to put all my energy into the positive side of what's happening there.
And I think you do a great job. And like, I love the trivia. Like, one of my funniest stories is I will typically listen to it on a walk. So I'm walking by this construction area. All of a sudden I get something right and I go, yes! And the person looked over me and I just started walking on by.
They were probably like, "Oh, he's listening to 3 Extra Lives."
Yeah, he's like, okay, I wonder what the trivia is that he got right. I always feel so good when I get it right, and then I feel so let down when I get it wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I try and always encourage people to let me know how they do on the trivia, and I know when people get 3 and they're so stoked, they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm the best, I'm so smart," and then people will like message me and say, "Oh, I got none," I'm dumb. I'm just like, it kind of devastates me sometimes how bad people take it when they don't get any questions right. They like take it really personally, and I'm just like, oh, it was just a bit of fun at the end of the segment. I don't take it so seriously, but trivia is serious business. So actually, I do understand why you would feel devastated at not getting any questions right. As a trivia fan, I write all the questions myself. I try and keep them related somewhat. I try and do a very bad Frazley segue to try and keep the questions relevant. So it's a lot of fun just coming up with those every week. And like I said, initially I was going to do some sort of 5-point podcast. I'm really glad I stuck to 3, because even that, it can be quite difficult to kind of round up 3 substantial topics. I mean, some weeks I'm swimming and stuff, and other weeks I'm getting to recording day and I'm like, oh no, I've got nothing to talk about. I don't know. But that's just podcasting life, right? You some weeks you have so much to talk about, it's almost embarrassing. And then another week you can just, you're like, oh my God, what actually am I going to talk about? And then somehow you make a show. And it turns out all right. But yeah.
3 Extra Lives and chill.
just me, like rambling. No, nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that.
And trivia time.
Yeah,
what has been one of your biggest obstacles you've had to overcome?
And I guess this is probably an ongoing thing, is because Through Actual Lives is a solo project, is that you're really like focused on it so much that you see everything with regards to what you're doing well, because I think it's important to acknowledge what you think you're doing well. You might not necessarily be doing it well, but also at the same time you are really, or you can be really hard on yourself, and you can put yourself down and make you feel like you're not actually adding any value to the space that you're creating content in. And you have this voice in your head saying, you know what, you're actually not that good at this. You're just wasting your time. Like you shouldn't be doing this. But then there's this other voice going, you know what, you're doing great. You're doing really awesome. You're making something that's providing value to people that people enjoy. They like listening to it. They're telling you they enjoy listening to it. And then you just have this kind of voice in your head sometimes saying, no, you don't know anything. Why are you making a podcast, you silly fool? But I mean, it's just this thing where you just kind of have to tell yourself, shut up, just quiet. And I'm doing this. I'm enjoying doing this. I get a kick out of doing it. So really, that's what matters. Like you mentioned earlier about feeling passionate about a project. If you're feeling that, if you've got that desire inside, and sometimes, yeah, you do get weeks where maybe you're running on a little bit empty, but I think if the passion is there, it's still, it flames up a little bit and it gets you through. And it is a constant challenge. And I found that because the podcast I did before, the Blue Recluse, which was about Blizzard games, I had 2 other co-hosts there, and we kind of kept each other going. And you're kind of in that space where you're energizing each other to create content, whereas this being more of a solo, everything's on your shoulders and you don't really have anybody to bounce anything off with. I mean, I know I could talk to people, I'm part of the Dragon Power network, but I think a lot of this I've just kind of pulled the sheet over my head and I've just kind of got on with it. And sometimes maybe it is good to just talk to people and get their feedback too. But I am fortunate that I have got quite a lot of feedback from doing this, which it keeps you going, doesn't it, as a podcaster, when you get somebody saying like, oh, your show this week, I really enjoyed it. Or just hearing about people with the trivia and getting feedback that way, it's really cool. So yeah, just that, I think that's just a thing as content creators, we have these kind of complexes where we're like, oh, should we even be doing this? Are we qualified to do this, or do we belong here? But the answer will always be yes, we do belong here, and that's not going away.
So just reading chat, And Tellenroyd says that the voice in your head is a 30s era cartoon gangster.
Oh, see, I'm gonna rob your bank, and I'm gonna.
That's not at all what you sounded like.
Well, I did a voice earlier, right? When I was
Yeah.
like, "Wow, see, you're a bad podcaster." I gotta wipe my nose. Woo. There we
It
go.
almost tripped on me.
I bet
So-
no one's ever said that on your show, Fraz. Oh, you almost tripped on me. See, I almost tripped on you. My nose is running, and I need to wipe it.
So Amanda, while Tom's wiping his nose before it drips on you.
Oh, I wiped it. It's clean.
Oh, it's okay. So, what do you do, Amanda, to overcome that voice in your head? I mean, because I don't know if yours is the 30s era gangster, but maybe it's a little differently.
Yeah, what's your voice in your head sound like?
Oh, I'm terrible at accents. Sorry, herring actually is a word from the 30s gangster era, and it means an incorruptible woman. So I like that we're hanging out in this area of linguistics. My voice, when it happens, I just tell it to shut up and talk to Monica and create words.
Is your voice like really British? Like, oh, you're a silly podcaster.
No, honestly, I think my voice is broken because
Okay.
I was working on something a couple years ago, a book called The Artist's Way, and it's like how to get rid of your inner critic and like all this stuff about just believing in the voice in your head, but like the good voice, not the bad voice. And I'm like, I don't have one of those voices.
what about the voice that
tell
tells
me
you to have Pop-Tarts for dinner? What do you tell that voice?
Pop-Tarts aren't vegan, voice, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I think my voice is broken, or I'm just really conceited. I'm not sure. I don't have a voice that gives me negative self-talk.
That's awesome. I hope to one day be at that place because many times have that in my head.
Just keep telling yourself that you're the coolest, most awesome, and best person ever.
Oh, Amanda, you're amazing. Wow.
That was the line on my dating bio that got Thom to send me a message.
Works every time.
Yeah.
100% of the time. It works that one time.
So you morph your dating bio to then catch Thom, and in the same way that Thom has probably morphed 3 Extra Lives in some way. He's not trying to date anybody. I don't think there were 3 Extra Lives, but
Hope not.
Well, actually, Frazley, let me just...
Wait a second. Was this your whole purpose of 3 Extra Lives, was to find some new tail?
The 3 Extra Lives is actually an anagram of... No, actually, no, I'm not going there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just... Ooh. So since you can't do the dating aspect of it, yeah, Tellenroyd's right. That's 3 extra secret lives.
Damn it. Tellenroyd, you got it.
That's the alternative.
That's for my
universe.
patrons. Head on over to patreon.com. No, I'm just kidding.
So what is an aspect that you feel has morphed about your show as you've progressed?
It kind of contradicts what I said maybe a little bit in the previous question, but listening back to some of my more recent episodes, I feel like just with each episode I'm recording, I can just hear the confidence growing. When I listen back to maybe the first few levels, which I actually thought, I'm going into this. I've done a bit of podcasting before. I know how to press play. I felt like I was going into somewhat familiar ground, but listening back to kind of the first few levels, I feel like I just don't sound as energized as I do now, which is kind of weird. So I just feel like that confidence is growing. I'm still figuring out how to even do this sometimes as I go along. But yeah, I've always got ideas. I've started to kind of experiment a bit more recently with new segments and just playing around with it because I just have this space that I can do that safely. I know I can do it in a way that still creates a show worth listening to. This is my good voice happening right now. It's the one that's most audible. So yeah, I think just confidence is growing. The ideas are flowing. I thought I was almost going to break into a rap there. It's growing in my head. The ideas and the confidence is just all coming together and getting stronger and burning brighter. And yeah.
Give yourself an extra life.
Give yourself an extra life.
Wife? Is that what your show is about?
3 extra wives. Okay.
I don't think I would be down for that show. No.
Or would you?
Well.
Okay, moving on.
So maybe there's a hint of what's going on in the in your household, but any hints to what future levels of 3X Lives will contain? I mean, not news stories because that changes.
I think I'd like to try and incorporate some interviews with developers. I've made a few connections with developers, and it's actually been pretty crazy. Actually, just talking to developers and kind of lifting the veil on how video games get made, because as someone that's primarily just a video gamer and never really thinks about how certain things are created, or the time and the energy and everything that goes into video games and the things that can go wrong. And I think we as gamers can always be so quick to judge, like when something goes wrong. And at the end of the day, we are consumers, but I've always tried to have a bit more patience when it comes to things like that. And I think doing 3 Extra Lives has opened that blind for me a bit more, just to kind of say, well, look, these are real people creating these games, and they can run into issues. And you know what, that little game mechanic that's in the game right now, that actually took a lot of work, and it was a real headache to get right. And I think speaking to more developers and actually getting their side of things of what it's like to create video games, and just that the challenges, and not just creating the game itself, but also the mental health challenges that come along with creating video games like this. I mean, we run into this sort of stuff creating content. We were talking about the voices, and just the 2 voices, not multiple voices, but we're talking about those sort of issues. And when you're creating something, that you run into this, and it's fascinating for me as a video gamer to gain more clarity and to gain more perspective on how games are created. And so I definitely want to cover more of that. And I think, I just want to keep going with positivity within video games. There's a lot out there, and I know when it comes to content creation that the negative aspects are really focused on a lot more, and that's what seems to get the traction. But I'm not choosing to ignore it completely, because I know bad stuff happens and stuff that I don't really agree with a lot of the time goes on. But I choose to take my energy and to shine lights on things where we can come together as gamers and we can celebrate that.
I like that, because I'm very thankful that you are very positive. And
that's just like someone else I know on this show. I mean, very positive, always looking on the bright side of life.
Yeah, because
thanks, Thom.
Yeah,
actually, I was talking about you because you, Amanda, you are starting a new podcast course with Thankful Cow.
Yes.
Since you don't have that voice in your head, I mean, and you got rid of the inner critic, what is the Thankful Cow podcast course about?
It's essentially a course that teaches you what a podcast is, number 1, why you should podcast, and then how to start your podcast from scratch. So it's like a do-it-yourself course that's going to take you step by step from how you decide on what to choose and what to talk about, to choosing your host, what an RSS feed is, getting your equipment sorted out, editing, and then towards the end of the course, marketing and ads and sponsors and podcast networks and everything. It's just a whole step-by-step podcast course.
And we've already got one buyer actually lined up, just off the phone. St. Patrick, very interested in how to, what a podcast is and how to start a podcast.
His podcast is called How to Rid Snakes from Your Island.
Oh,
Snakes and Planes.
Oh.
The Snakes and Planes podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Are they going to talk about the movie and what it means for society?
I think so.
That's it.
Nice.
Special guest, Samuel L. Jackson.
Ooh. Go to sleep.
Best book ever.
Yeah, it's the best book ever, and I wish I could have read it to my niece and nephew.
You got to read it to them before they can remember.
Yeah. And then later on, when she goes, my sister, Mommy, what is? Where did you learn that?
Uncle Frazley.
I've already taught them bad things before. And
It's fair.
I am glad that you're making this course because I got started podcasting through a course like this. And I think I'm with you. It's in the beginning when you start a podcast, it can be overwhelming. And I'm glad that there's another resource to be able to go through it step by step and do all the things. So what led you to make a course to help others start a podcast?
Honestly, the local women in my business network all kept asking me podcast questions pretty consistently over the last year. And I helped a few of them like in person, helped them out with things. And they kept saying like, you should really make a course. You should make a course. You should do this. And I was like, yeah. And then they just kept asking me. And I was like, I'm just going to make a course.
Nice.
Please stop asking me. But like, don't stop asking me. But I was just like, I'm just repeating myself. So I'll make a course.
That's awesome. I mean, you've had a problem asking for a solution and you're able to share what you've learned. And I love that.
Thanks.
What has it been like writing the course?
It's been sporadic. It was going really well over the summer, towards the end of the summer, like August and the beginning of September were good months for writing the course. Got a lot done. And then I got sick and it kind of threw me off. But the local women in my group, they encouraged me to set up the sales page and get everything ready and like do pre-sales and beta rounds. And I was like, okay. So I have, but I feel a little bit guilty because the course isn't fully completed yet.
Don't tell people that. Don't tell people that.
Well, they know. It's obvious that the course is not completed yet.
They don't know that.
They know that. It says it on the sales page. The course is not completed yet.
Yeah, but nobody reads that. Nobody reads the small print.
Yeah. No one reads the small print because, I mean, they only read the Draenei-sized print.
Oh, yeah.
True.
And I like that attitude that it's still work in progress because, I mean, podcasting is always morphing and changing. And it's one that what I've learned even when I started in 2017, and I started a little bit before then, but consistently podcasting, that's changed. I mean, Now we're on Squadcast talking to each other when I was recording on Discord. I mean, it's interesting that change in podcasting. And I mean, there's speculation at some point RSS may go away. I mean, that would be kind of freaky, but it's weird. We can be on Pandora, we can be on Spotify. It's weird to be how it's morphing and changing.
I want to see a quote from this episode where it's like, podcasts are like the Power Rangers, always changing, always morphing. Frazley, 2019.
And Teleware says small print has the same voice as the inner critic. Just ignore it.
Oh, I'm reading the small print.
I like
no.
I like this person.
We will steal your firstborn. Damn it, small print.
And I mean, though the only issue is small prints what has got them into contracts before, and then I haven't been able to get out of them. Phooey. So through all of this, and this is back to the both of you, what would you say is the best experience that's happened to you since you've started your creative outlets?
I've got to talk to some really cool people. People that have some small level of recognition and fame in like the gaming or online world and it's cool just getting to chat with people that you never thought that you would ever in a million years get to connect with, or even, I don't know, you follow them on Twitter or something and you're like, oh my gosh, now we're having a conversation, like, you know my name. So it's really cool getting to connect with and talk to people that are, like I say, just bigger names and more recognition. I don't know. It's not just them either. Like we've talked to some really cool people. Like Monica has a friend, a gender scientist from Austria, and like, okay, Monica talks to her regularly, but it was the first time I got to talk to her, and I was like, you are amazing. Like, it's just really cool, just the diversity of people that we get to talk to.
And I think it was podcasting that led you and I to start talking, because I remember I initially talked with you about those hippie boats, and I still want that down because I thought it was so cool. But then it was through the interaction with like the Blue Recluse, we started talking, and now I consider you one of my best friends, and it's so cool. Like how podcasting brought that around.
Same. Like, you're one of my best friends, and I still think back. Like, I remember that night I was lying in my bed, just chatting with this person called Frazley about this awesome boat city in British Columbia, and I was like, this is so random. And I was like, Thom, do you know Frazley? He's really cool.
And I said, yeah, I know him, but he ain't cool. Oh, no way. No, just kidding.
I don't think I was podcasting back then, so I don't
You
know.
weren't.
Oh, yeah, so you weren't cool. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You can only be cool if you podcast.
Mm.
Said the podcaster.
And Thom, I thought you were cool ever since
Aw.
you and I were talking with Kaifin in a tweet thread about Gul'dan and about everything. And then all of a sudden, what do you do? You go on and you do a Gul'dan impression.
Sounds about right, yeah.
Good.
And that was cool. And Capo said I ain't cool. Oh well, I don't need to be.
Oh, good. Someone
everybody.
agrees with me. Yeah. Capo, he's totally not cool, is he? No.
He's the coolest, most awesome, and best gnome ever.
Oh, man, you're amazing. Oh,
You don't have to keep apologizing when you kick me because it's just going to be weird on the
Sorry.
show. It's like, you keep saying sorry.
I was apologizing to you for
Okay.
apologizing to you
Yeah,
before.
we're derailing the show.
Yeah.
Just, you can kick me. Don't need to apologize.
Do you hear that? I
For the
totally...
duration of this podcast. Sorry. Whew.
okay.
Got that in there.
So Thom, I'll underail it. And so, what would you say is the best experience that has happened to you,
Oh, doing 3 extra lives or
or anything? Because you've done a lot of things over the years. I mean, just
I'll keep it to 3 extra lives. Just otherwise, I'll get lost down some of the rabbit hole. And I think it's just been reaching out to developers, communicating with indie game developers, and actually them also being like, "Hey, you want to check out my game?" Or them actually giving you their game, and you're like, "Oh my god, I didn't pay for this video game, and I get to play it now for free, and I get to talk about it, and I get to make a podcast about that, and I get to make content about these games that these indie developers are creating." And I think almost when I've been in this really privileged position to like receive a game like this, I get like really invested in the game as well. I take my time to kind of play through it and think about the implications of everything within the game, and I feel like truly humbled and honored when it does happen. Yeah, the first time it happened, I was talking to a developer on Facebook, and I had just kind of played the demo of the game, and I had interacted with their Facebook page, and then I got a private message, and I was like running around my house going, "Oh my god, like this feels like a big moment for me. Like this feels like, I feel like I'm on the right track." And it's constantly been like, it feels like that because I've been speaking to developers on Twitter, on Facebook, and even on LinkedIn. Like some indie game developers have followed me and communicated me there. Even one of the indie game developers backed me on Patreon, which was like, oh my god, like I must be doing something right. So that was very exciting. So I think, just making those connections with developers has been huge, and I'm looking forward to kind of expanding that and learning more about video games that are coming through, and sharing that with my listeners. Sharing it with my friends, because as soon as I discover something, like it's you guys that I tell first. I'm like, look, you gotta go check this out. Get this one on your wish list, or download this one. It's free to play. And I love discovering something. I love telling people about something I've discovered. And, not that I'm the only one who knows about it, but sometimes it feels like that. It feels like I'm unearthing a gem. And when your friend circle doesn't know about it, it's really cool to share. So very, very excited to continue doing that. And that's probably where my hype's coming from.
and you've definitely been on the first to also experience things, and I bet you'd be the first to be able to give advice to content creators wanting to get into or continue their endeavors.
Ooh, I mean, I think, we've mentioned it on this episode about finding something you feel passionate about. And I think that's a great place to start. I mean, don't talk about pineapples if you're more into avocados,
Oh, no, wait, I gotta stop that podcast now.
Yeah, stop that one. All about pineapples. Find something you're passionate about, and if kind of come to terms where if you have this burning desire to create something, because not everyone wants to do that, and maybe you can like fall down this place where you're like, oh, I have to do this. I mean, you don't. You can find an outlet that satisfies that. It might not be podcasting. It might be creating videos, or creating YouTube, or drawing, or whatever. And I think finding that outlet if you have to experiment with that. If you're doing something and it's not feeling right, it's okay to change your mind and pursue another path and try and find that. And it might take a while for you to get to that place where you feel it feels right, but you'll know when it feels right, and you know when you're doing something worthwhile, and you know that takes a lot of work, but you'll also have this feeling that you're just on the right path, and things start happening. You start making connections, and you start just seeing little signs. You're getting feedback for your show, and it just starts to come together. And I think in a world where there's so much content that you can really feel lost with trying to throw your voice in there as well. I think something that I always try and base kind of my content creation philosophy on is try and do what you're going to do, but try and do it a little bit different from what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
Find your space that way, because it's easy to just look at someone, feel inspired. I mean, I've done it myself where I feel inspired and I feel like I just want to replicate what they're doing. But at the same time, I feel like, I have to find a way to do that in my own way that actually makes it a little bit different for people to invest their time into doing that. So that's something that I'm always trying to do. Don't always succeed, but that's something that is always kind of at the forefront of my mind when creating content.
And Amanda, what advice would you give?
Once you've considered what you want to do and whatever creative method that you think it was going to be for you, whether it's podcasting or creating videos or whatever it is. So you've got your creative endeavor in mind and you understand in principle how to do it. Just start. That's the most important thing, is because you're never going to keep going. You're never going to get your voice, your words out there if you don't start and just do it. Like at the beginning, it might be bad. But that's okay, because I would say 90% of things at the beginning are bad. And you learn and you grow and you edit. And I mean, that's what editing is for, right?
Yeah.
And you get feedback and it's all good. So just start and don't be afraid of starting.
Except ice cream. I'd say the first 90% of ice cream is good.
Yeah,
and the last
true.
10% is bad because it's kind of melted.
But melted ice cream is good too.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to think that if you melted ice cream and kept swirling around in a bowl.
Oh, it would freeze again? Or?
No. I would just do it really, really fast because I wanted to try to centrifuge it and break it down to atoms. I was a weird child. It didn't work, by the way.
Thanks for letting us know.
You're welcome.
I was going to
Well, you derailed my conversation by talking about ice cream.
I mean, was that derailing though?
Well...
It was trying something because
it was really Martying me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No one's gonna know what that means, but
yeah. That's an inside joke for those who listen to The Blue Recluse, Nerd This, or Sleepers in Copenhagen.
Yeah. Marty's a great person, but he does like to diminish your points at times without meaning to.
Diminishing returns.
But yeah, I am with you on Amanda trying it out, like just starting with it, and because it goes to what both of you are saying, just start something, try something, and you never know where it's going to lead you on the passion. Like this show, I thought it was going to be about WoW. It is, but it's about the people. It's about the people behind it, and I find I get more excited when I talk with people about who they are, because I couldn't be a Spencer Downey of the Starting Zone or a Pat Crane of Convert to Raid, because all the discussion of news, they love doing that. It's not as exciting for me. I do it when I have to, but I don't love it.
Yeah, you're all about the community and the connections, and I don't know, it's more interesting to me than the news. So I'm down for it. Is what I'm saying.
Behind the news.
Amanda, I am so thankful for you. You made me feel good all evening, and
you always make me feel good. So, I think we're an even trade-off there.
Yes, a good friends. We can walk arm in arm down the road, skipping, going la 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 la.
I could do that.
Nice. Just not on an empty stomach, or
a full one.
Or a full one, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, but if we don't go on empty or full, then when do we do it? Do we just not
half empty? No, is your stomach half empty or half full?
Ooh, we do it in the middle of the afternoon when it's not lunchtime and it's before dinner time.
That works, because then we have good energy.
Mm-hmm.
until then, I think let's do a tradition that at least I know as I've grown up with Thanksgiving dinners. After we've had this amazing dinner all evening, I think it's time to talk about what we are thankful for. And I was asking the community what they're thankful for. And across Discord, Twitter, and Facebook, they all gave back answers. And Telleroyd said, do it 90% into a bowl of ice cream.
Oh, it's all about the angle? You were doing it wrong.
Oh! See? Tonight, I did not know what herring meant. So, see, I'm learning things all the
Always
time.
learning. Yep.
TIL, baby. TIL.
Either you had told me before what herring meant, and it went over my head, and sometimes it does because I forget things a lot. Like I have to listen.
We have a T-shirt that has the definition of it on it. You should get one.
I should get that because I have the other Geek Herring shirt that I wore to BlizzCon, but I should also get that shirt.
Complete your set.
Yeah.
Yes, and then I should also get the Podcastination shirt on the DPS store.
All of them. Just all the you don't need any more shirts, but buy them all.
Okay, I'll buy them all.
Then make yourself a T-shirt that says "I will buy your T-shirt."
I'll buy your T-shirt.
So meta.
Yeah. So Valencia says that they're grateful for my great friends, life, World of Warcraft, my grandma, and reading.
Zaf says gnomes, Frazley Sparkspan that I can mix into cranberry sauce. Well, I don't know what that means. Haha, on a real note, friends and family. Thanks, everyone. Are you getting turned into cranberry sauce, Frazley?
I must be, but maybe
That's delicious.
Maybe they need to do 90 degrees like the ice cream.
Is that after that happens? Would you say be sauceum?
Sauce.
Oh no.
Chaotic Goodish says, my family, my friends, my job, and good food.
All good things to be thankful for.
Yes.
Crushinator says, I'm grateful for second chances and new opportunities. No matter how many times I fail, how many moments I squander, or how often I've lacked conviction, life continues to offer me chances to improve and succeed.
It sounds like a 3 Extra Life listener right there.
It does.
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised because Crushinator just started Crush's Cavern, and they've definitely been listening to a lot of podcasts out there. And Plaggy says, I am thankful for Blizzard Entertainment. And I am too, because if it wasn't for Blizzard Entertainment, I wouldn't be making a podcast about World of Warcraft.
So Christopher Cox says, me and my lady are thankful for everything, man. Smiley face, heart emoji, heart emoji. We don't like bringing this up since it's still too recent, but honestly thankful that we tried out EverQuest and Vanguard. Miss you, Brad. We all do. You definitely lived out your purpose here and changed MMOs for the best.
Yeah, definitely was sad to hear about Brad's passing.
Sad.
Ali, I'm thankful for Capo, me too, who did my cover art and gave me my 199th mount. All in all, I'm thankful for this amazing community.
Absolutely, because without this community, wouldn't have met all the cool people that I know. And a cool person, Telleroyd, said, I'm thankful for friends, family, and especially the 14% that laugh at my jokes, but also the other 86% that at least tolerate them.
That was a statistically heavy thankfulness.
It was.
I like it.
I'm thankful for that thankfulness.
Yes.
Tell him, Roy, you can up that 14% to 16%.
You just got 2 more fans.
Yeah, you did.
And they're also a huge Star Trek fan.
Ooh.
Live long and prosper, my friend.
I can kind of do it. I have to hold my hand like that. Yeah.
You gotta hold your hand. You gotta hold your hand. He likes the Beatles.
I like the Beatles. Yeah.
The soft spot.
Yeah, who doesn't?
I don't know. You'd have to be crazy not to.
Yeah.
Wait, there could be somebody who's like, who's the Beatles?
Oh, wow. I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not too.
I'm thankful for podcasting. It's opened a lot of opportunities since Thom started podcasting. I don't know how long ago, 6 years, 7 years, however long the Blue Recluse existed for. I've met so many friends. I've had so many job opportunities come through. I work basically podcasting for most of my income right now. And I'm thankful for meeting the amazing people that I know, like Frazley.
Aw. Wow. I mean, you're really making me feel good this episode. Podcast dog. Here we go.
Yeah.
My thankfulness is gonna be a bit cheesy, but I'm thankful for being on this show this evening, Fraz. Because you know what, this is my like 3rd year in a row spending Thanksgiving in the States, and you know I love to come over here this time of year and get all involved in the American business, the good American business. And you know what, today I was feeling a bit stuffy, feeling a bit sniffly, feeling a bit like, oh, you know, I have to go on a podcast later. But you know, sitting here talking to you, talking to Amanda, you know, I couldn't imagine doing anything else on Thanksgiving right now. You know, this is a lot of fun, and I always enjoy talking to you both professionally, if we can call this professionally, and also just, you know, you guys being some of the closest friends I have, and always know I can turn to you for advice, or you know, throw some creative curveball at you and get some feedback, and just very appreciative for the kind of close knit community we have, especially kind of from Dragon Powered, and you know, put Marty in there as well. I know the four of us the four of us have kind of worked closely over the last year, and it's been, you know, been a real privilege to do that, and long may it continue.
And hopefully Marty's not Yoko Ono, because Teleroid's saying that Yoko hated the Beatles and she married John Lennon and split the Beatles up.
You know, it's funny.
Are you comparing us to the Beatles? Because that's cool.
Yeah, I think we're the Beatles. I mean, like, we can all start singing and stuff like that.
I mean, I do call Marty Yoko, but I think that's just a coincidence.
Okay. Yeah, probably just a coincidence.
Yoko Larson. Larson.
Yeah.
That's what we call him. We're like, hey, Yoko. And he's like,
I mean,
pastries.
That's what I'm going to start calling him now.
Yoko. Oh, no, he's called Ko. We say Yoko. He's called...
Not careful, because if you do Coco, that's either the Pixar movie or Conan. And I don't think Marty's as cool as Conan O'Brien.
I mean,
no,
not many people are.
No.
Yeah,
Not Spring Dance.
Yeah. And how Conan explains games. Yeah, that is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thankful for everyone who listens or watches what I do and what we do on our podcasts, because these podcasts and streams have given purpose to my life. I was kind of drifting like those hippies on that community, but I then got into podcasting and streaming, and my confidence level has grown because of this, and knowing that there are people out there who like what I do, the people who show up to chat, people who send feedback, it really makes it so I matter to the world, and I appreciate that, because I've really been thinking, like, I was actually on my walk today thinking of things I wanted to do for my podcast. So I was thinking of things I wanted to do to make them even better. So
you know why you feel like you matter, Frazley? Because you do matter. You do matter. And I think, like, everything you've created with your 4 million podcasts and your community around that, I mean, you just have to, like, look in the chat this evening and just kind of look at the folks that tune in and, you know, cheering on everything you're doing as well. And it's thoroughly deserved. I mean, I don't think there's many places you could go where you jump into Frazley stream and you just get this energetic, positive person that's, you know, always looking for the best in people, always looking for the best in things. And as someone that knew you initially just from Twitter, and I always found you hugely inspiring, just from that, and to get to know you more personally, and it's like, oh, he is just full of beans the whole time, you know, coffee beans,
yes,
mainly,
beans.
But he's full of, you know, he's got this real energy, and I know, just getting to know you more, I feel like I've absorbed a bit of that energy, and it's really cool. I hope I didn't make you weaker, but I absorbed some of that energy. I Gul'daned you.
Oh, you Gul'dan? Okay.
Yeah, but I didn't fully turn you into Varian. You know, I didn't do the green dust stuff. You know.
And that's why I got to drink coffee. Coffee's my strength. As long as I drink coffee in a day, I have the energy to give to people. If I don't do my coffee, then I am Frazley.
Yeah, Capo's just sussed me out. Yeah, me and him have a bet on that I was going to make you cry during this show. I think I lost my $10. But yeah,
yeah. Capo's betting $10 I'm going to cry, and Teleroid says that I'm already holding a tissue, so that's a sucker.
That's true.
And you know, I could just go, Achoo! Wipe away the tear. Achoo! Okay, there we go. But before I start crying, and also because you have popcorn that's out there, freshly popped.
Popcorn?
Is that what I heard?
Man. Coffee.
Oh, you have coffee. Okay.
Popcorn flavored coffee.
I like both of these things.
Ooh.
Can I just have some of all of these?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
It's Thanksgiving. You can have whatever you want.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So
Oh no.
before you pop out of here like a coffee being poured into a mug, I don't know how that works, but I was trying to work on that. Where can we find you on the interwebs?
You can find me pretty much anywhere at Falamoya Crava, and you can find Geek Herring also pretty much everywhere at Geek Herring. That's easy.
That was really clean, really precise.
Nice.
You can find me on Twitter at Thom the Knight, and you can find 3 Extra Lives pretty much anywhere as well. At 3 Extra Lives, you're gonna stumble across that just by doing that. So yeah, that's where you found my stuff.
Nice. Trying to think of a segue out of here.
Don't look at Twitch chat. That's not a segue we want.
No. I mean, it is funny because we were talking about beep pics before the show started.
Beep pics, yeah.
What kind of beep is Amanda talking about?
Activating customized corporate transporter.
Well, I am back a moment of Ironforge until we one day reclaim Nomergon.
I'm a gnome.
Let's look at what has been happening in the community.
Awesome. Let's do that. So there's a lot that happens in our community, but the one thing that was notable to put on this podcast was something that I saw on Reddit. So there was a post of Eldon preparing the turkey with a predictable effect.
Yes.
And from what I tried to find, I believe this was made by Punisher106. I found this according to the comments on knowyourmeme.com. Punisher106 posted 3 years ago. I decided to solo Black Temple and was bored and decided to do this. This has been another awesome episode of FrazlCast. Shout out to Kara, who is one of the nicest people I've met. They chatted with me and gave me some Trek advice of their own for delving into this awesome new world. Boldly going where no gnome has gone before. Actually, no, I think there are some gnomes that like Star Trek. Anyway, Spaz says, I totally forgot to mention the add-on WoW Pro guide for new players. Makes the game much more streamlined so you don't get lost, and it helps level out faster. And Kappa said about the upcoming Warcraft stats episode, 10 of 10 would listen again. Damages be... And Nevik said about 134, great episode, and they loved the roundtable conversation. So I'm going on vacation, so the streams, the Be Awesome Walk selfies, and the Frazzle Report will be going on hiatus, but I have episodes of FrazlCast and Be Great Today planned to still go out. I'm still going to be here, just won't be live for a little bit. But then when I come back, 2020 is going to be an awesome year for Gnome and Gnome kind. And for you too. Hopefully there's a lot of laughs and maybe not too much putting my foot in my mouth. I do that quite often. Not on purpose, no. Anyway, every episode, in addition to thanking those who give me shoutouts during the week, I also like to thank those who have given back to this show financially. Thank you to my Twitch subs out there. Thank you to Capo, Crunk, Easy Mac, Harlow, Jendon, Michael, Pete of Stories Around Azeroth, Posty, Tellenroyd, Thorn of Lagging Balls, Felicia, Watson0715, Wicked Kitten 13, and Zorts. And thank you to Capo for the bits. If you want to support the show financially, please go to support.gnomepodcast.com. If you have Twitch Prime to Amazon Prime, you can use your free Twitch Prime subscription on my channel and get awesome emotes like Frazzle Wave, Frazzle Facepalm, the Afui emote, and all of your support goes helping support this labor of love. Thank you so much every week. I love doing this, and any support that you show helps encourage me in those long hours of editing. Well, I am Frazley, and you can find the show at gnomepodcast.com. So until next week, be sawsome.
FrazlCast is a fan podcast that covers Blizzard games. We are not affiliated with Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. Views expressed by the hosts and guests are their own. Some of the art, music, and sound effects come from Blizzard games and are owned by Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. No copyright infringement is intended. The Gnome Train Intro is by Allie of Dungeon Fables and All Things Azeroth, and the opening music is by Brandon T. Blaylock.
This show is brought to you by Dragon Powered Studio. Find more at dragonpoweredstudio.com.